news, viewers. The streets that should have been safe have become scenes of tragedy far too often. Tonight, we shine light on a growing crisis that has shattered countless families. The deadly hit-and-run epidemic that is sweeping our roads and our nation. At the heart of this is the heartbreaking case of Sarthak Mattu. His young life was cut short in a hit-and-run accident, and yet justice remains elusive. However, before Sarthak, there was another man by the name of Karthik. He's another innocent victim belonging to another family that was left devastated. The painful pattern repeats itself even today. Sarthak's parents continue their tireless fight, refusing to let their son's death become just another statistic. And a similar fight has been fought by Karthik's family for the past few months. We're now today joined by other grieving families. They're out on the streets with powerful protests carrying a clear message: killers roam free. More and more hit-and-run victims' families are now raising their voices, demanding accountability and systemic change. They want stricter laws, faster investigations, immediate suspension of licenses, and harsher punishments that actually deter drivers from fleeing the scene. The question echoing across these protests is loud and urgent. How do we ensure real justice for hit-and-run families? How do we break this deadly cycle and make our roads safer for everyone? Joining me on the broadcast is Ms. Karthik Suresh. She is the mother of Karthik, who is a hit-and-run victim. Rajni ji, thank you so much for speaking to NewsX. I want to begin by asking you, ma'am, can you firstly tell our viewers about Karthik's case specifically?
Thank you, Devika, for giving us opportunity to come and speak about Karthik's case. Karthik has been a very joyful and lovable kind of a person, and he was returning on the 4th of April from a friend's house after a birthday party, and he was on a bike taxi. He was wearing a helmet. He was a pillion rider. They were on the right side of the road, and our house and the place where he went to is just 4 to 5 kilometers. So probably that is the reason why he would have taken a bike taxi after the birthday party. While coming back, an SUV, a Tata Harrier, which was driven by one Akrit Yadav from Ghaziabad, who is also an engineering student. He rammed at a very high speed and on the wrong side. And the impact was so high that Ritvik, who was driving the bike taxi, and Karthik Suresh, both of them were flung and both of them lost their lives.
Rajni ji, when exactly did you learn about the accident? Can you tell us a little bit about that time of the day? When did you receive the first calls? What was exactly informed to you about the situation?
See, we this was around 2:15 a.m. in the morning, and he called up around 11:30 at night and said that the cake cutting is getting a little delayed, so he'll be late. So I was around 2:30 or so. I got up, and when I went to his room, I found him that he is not yet home. So I started calling him. So one such call was received by the police, and that is when we got to know about the accident. We immediately rushed to the police station.
And Rajni ji, when you were at the police station, what happened in the next few days, in the next 24 hours, 48 hours? Because as far as hit-and-run cases are concerned, the police, I'm assuming, has to act really fast on the information that comes to them. They have to immediately start looking at the CCTV footage. So what really happened, and how were the culprits finally, brought to the cops?
Unfortunately, in our case also, the accused Akrit Yadav was arrested only the next day, which was almost 24 to 30 hours later. And the onlookers said that they saw him throwing alcohol bottles out of the car, and there was also a red glass we found near the accelerator of the vehicle. But there was no possibility that the evidence of alcohol could have come out after so much of time. And although he was arrested the next day, he was out on bail instantly.
Yes, unfortunately, that's where the law of the land stands today. But Rajni ji, you've lost a son 3 months ago
Yeah,
to an absolutely what one can call avoidable situation entirely. There was no
that
need for the other driver to be drinking and driving. There was no need for the other driver to be driving on the wrong side of the road as far as your
Devika,
son's
when
case is
somebody
concerned.
is Devika, when somebody is driving on the wrong side, you absolutely know that you are going to hit somebody. So this, I feel that I could have had my child with me today if this reckless kind of this is not a negligence, it's a deliberate kind of a um, thing that has happened. And wrong side driving is definitely that you are going to hit somebody. So when you do that, you are totally irresponsible, and after such an act, after killing two people and a person being let out scot free, it pains so much.
Did you ever get the opportunity, Rajni ji, to speak to the other side, to maybe the culprit's family, to maybe the culprit themselves? Did they ever express any sort of remorse? Can you tell us a little bit about their behavior? Did you feel that there was, any attempts that were made to shield the culprit in this case?
Well, there has after 2 days, we went to the police station to inquire about whether arrest or what has happened, because we were also busy with the funerals, the rituals following that. So when we went to the station, they were asking, like, if you want to meet the accused family said they want to meet. But you know I was not in a position that point of time on the third day to meet the family.
Yes. No, that's absolutely fair, Rajni ji. I just want to understand from you. The media is once again trying its best to highlight Sarthak Mattu's case. But it's
Yeah.
been 3 months now since you lost your son Karthik to a hit and run. Where does justice stand for you today? Where does the case stand? What is the update that you have now, 3 months after this?
Devika, that is the sad part of our justice system. Sometimes, the charge sheet has been filed in our case, but the next date is August 19th. That is the date that has been given. And I really do not know how much time it is going to take. Uh, and that pains even more that parents like me and the I understand that the bike driver's mother is in the hospital. She has not been able to come out of this. In They are from Bihar. So two mothers in pain every single day, but we really don't know what is the kind of justice that is going to be meted out to us.
Okay. Rajni, then I want to understand from you, because like I said, there is currently a protest that's also going on for other victims that have now come to light, especially thanks to the Sarthak Mattu case. I want to understand from you now, as a person who has lost her son to an absolutely mindless hit and run case, when we say justice must be delivered, what would justice mean to you? I know that you've lost a son, nothing will ever perhaps help you come to terms with that fact. But when we talk about justice, that would perhaps truly help you make sense of what has happened. What does that justice mean, Rajni? In your plain words, we want to understand today.
The plain words, if I say this should not be a bailable offense.
Okay.
There is a section of 1062 which is still under abeyance. I believe, because of some transporters who have, taken a strike against this. But that section has to be invoked. And when there is a fatality, when in our case, two fatalities. So when there is a fatality, I don't think, the justice system should be such that, the person is given a bail. This should be a non-bailable offense, particularly when there is a fatality, particularly when there is a wrong side driving, particularly when there is an overspeeding.
Would you want that perhaps hit and run cases should be tried as attempt to murder, perhaps without intent?
Yes, of course. And I appeal to you through the media. I appeal to all the stakeholders, Amit Shah, PM Modi, all the lawmakers, that you have to bring an immediate, change in the law. You have to make these sections non-bailable. You have to bring these people, and otherwise there will be more and more mothers who will simply be crying. There will be more children who will be lost. And the message we are giving is anybody can drive on the road, they can overspeed, they can be on the wrong side, they can kill multiple number of people, but there's nothing going to be happening to them. They will
Absolutely.
be out on bail.
Rajni, unfortunately, we live in a country where, the roads have become one of the biggest killers of its people. But before we let you go, ma'am, one last question to you. What would you say to the parents of Sarthak Mattu who are now just beginning their fight for justice? What would you say to them? What would be your advice to them?
Well, I had been to the candle march, which had happened 2 days back. I met the parents. I have, it is too early for me to tell them to be strong. But then I have told them that, we are with them in this. And we need to take this collectively, to bring justice to this kind of hit and runs.
Absolutely. Rajni ji, thank
We
you so
have to be
much.
fighting it because that's the least that we can do for our kids.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us on NewsX. My apologies that I had to ask you to recount some of the details that I'm sure you've had to many times in the past. And hopefully, we will reach a justice system in this country, ma'am, where you will no longer have to keep thinking about those painful memories. And perhaps some justice will be delivered that will act as a soothing balm on the deep pain and the deep scars that have been left by the very, very unfortunate death of your son. Thank you so much, Rajni ji, for joining us on NewsX.
Thank you so much, Devika.
Meanwhile, viewers, as we shift our focus to West Bengal,